It's getting pretty late in the college basketball season, so I'm getting more confident about my top 4 seeds, the first 4 in and the first 4 out. Let's go. Hey, what's going on, guys? Going to Blue Dude here. Friendly reminder, go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button. I do videos every single day. First, we'll do the number 1 seeds. Of course, number 1 overall, Gonzaga, 24-0, undefeated. The second number 1 seed, and they just took a loss, but that's okay, Michigan. They're 18-2. They lost to a really good Illinois. But I'm still confident that Michigan will be a 1 seed come tournament time. The next number 1 seed, Baylor, 19-1. Just beat my team, West Virginia, because we kept shooting ourselves in the foot. If you watch that game, mistakes. Congratulations, Baylor. You won the Big 12, but dadgummit, we had that game won. The final number 1 seed, and I'm more confident about it now, is Illinois. They just beat Michigan. They're 19-6. Their resume is loaded. Yeah, I will put Illinois as a 1 seed for now. Now for the 2 seeds. West Virginia, yes, they just lost to Baylor in a game they should have won. But their resume, loaded. They're at the very top of the Big 12, right behind Baylor. Confident that West Virginia will be a 2 seed. We have TCU and Oklahoma State left. The next 2 seed, Iowa. They're very up and down, but their resume is solid. They're 18-7, right behind Michigan and Illinois in a tough Big 10. Iowa could be a tricky team come tournament time. The next 2 seed, Arkansas. This team is red hot right now. They just beat Alabama, LSU. They're 19-5, second in the SEC. Yeah, they're a 2 seed right now. The last 2 seed is the team that Arkansas just recently beat. Alabama, 19-6, still at the top of the SEC. I think that deserves a 2 seed, and they have a great resume. On to the 3 seeds. First up, Kansas. They're 18-8. They are rebounding from a mid-season crisis. Gotten some great wins. Beat Baylor. That's enough for me to put Kansas as a 3 seed. The next 3 seed going to be Villanova. 15-4 at the top of the Big East. They did struggle there for a stretch, but they're back on track. Big game against Creighton. Seeding will be on the line in that game. And that brings me to Creighton, another 3 seed. They're 17-6, right up there with Villanova. They're going to play Villanova. And like I said, seedings and Big East bragging rights will be on the line. The last 3 seed is Houston. They're 20-3. They have a buttload of wins. They have a couple of bad losses, though, so I'm not sure really where to put them. So for now, I have Houston as a 3 seed. Now the 4 seeds. The first one, Oklahoma State, red hot right now. 17-6, has some great wins. They could actually improve their seeding towards the end of the year. They have some good games left on their schedule. Next 4 seed is Texas. They struggled for a little bit, but they're 15-7 in the upper half of a very tough Big 12 conference, and they do have some good wins. The last 2 4 seeds are really difficult to put together. So here goes. The first one, Florida State. 14-4, a lot of COVID issues, not really any bad losses, and they do have some good wins. We'll see what happens at the end of the season in the ACC. Then the last team, Ohio State. At one point, I had Ohio State as a 1 seed. They're 18-7. They lost, I believe, 3 in a row, and they're just on a downward trend. But for now, I still have them as a top 4 seed because I just didn't know who else to put in there. They do have some good wins. Now it's time to talk about the first 4 in. The first team is going to be UConn. They're hanging on by a thread. 12-6, and they've won 4 out of their last 5. They need to stay hot to grab a lock into the tournament. The next team that I have in my first 4 in, Georgia Tech, 14-8. They've beaten some good teams recently. They are padding their resume. Wins over Syracuse, Virginia Tech, Syracuse, and Duke. 4 good wins in a short amount of time. Yeah, I have Georgia Tech in right now. The next team on shaky ground, but for now I have them in, and that's Louisville. They just beat Duke not too long ago. That was enough for me to put them in my first 4 in. Last team that I have in my first 4 in is Memphis. They're on a hot streak right now. They've won 6 straight games. Memphis is close to being a lock. Now for my first 4 out. They're hanging by a thread, but right now I don't think they're going to make it into the tournament. Maybe they can play their way in, but right now I have them barely out. The first team is not Duke. They've lost some games recently, so I don't even have them in my first 4 out. So don't even think about it. Not talking about Duke. But I will talk about Xavier. I actually had them in my first 4 in, but then I knocked them to my first 4 out. Why? Because they lost to Georgetown, and you just can't do that when you're trying to make the dance. Next team is St. John's. They're 14-10. Recently, they lost to DePaul and Villanova. They do have some good wins, so I think they have a chance. But right now, I have them on the outside looking in. And then there's Stanford. I had Stanford firmly in my field at one time, but they've lost 3 games in a row, and now they're 14-11, 6th in the Pac-12, and they grabbed a couple of bad losses. Maybe Stanford can play their way back in, but right now, they're playing their way out. And then there's Seton Hall, 13-10, hanging on by a thread. Losing to Georgetown and Butler doesn't help. You're playing your way out. You need to go in the opposite direction. Well, that's all I got for you for this show. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you on my next show.